There is a silent problem happening in gardens and farms all around the world. Many people plant seeds, water their plants, and wait patiently for growth, but nothing truly thrives. The soil looks dry, compact, lifeless. Plants grow slowly, leaves turn pale, roots struggle to spread, and harvests become smaller every season. Many people believe the solution is expensive fertilizers or special products from garden stores. They spend money year after year trying to fix the problem, yet the soil never really improves. What most people do not realize is that the real secret to restoring dead soil is not hidden inside a bag of fertilizer. It is something far simpler, something incredibly common, and something that millions of people throw away every single day without understanding its true value. In carpentry workshops, lumber mills, furniture factories, and even small garages where people work with wood, there is a material that constantly piles up on the floor. It gathers around cutting machines, sanding tools, and saw blades. It looks like dust. It looks like waste. Workers sweep it into piles and throw it away in bags. Sometimes it is burned. Sometimes it is dumped in landfills. Yet this material holds a powerful secret that experienced farmers and soil experts have known for generations. When used correctly, this simple material can slowly transform poor soil into rich living ground that supports healthy plant growth. That material is sawdust. Yes, simple wood sawdust. At first glance, it may seem strange that something so small and seemingly useless could have such a powerful impact on soil health. But once you understand how soil works and why organic matter is essential, the role of sawdust becomes incredibly clear. Soil is not just dirt. Healthy soil is actually a living ecosystem filled with microorganisms, fungi, insects, and organic compounds that constantly cycle nutrients. These living systems break down organic materials, release minerals, improve soil structure, and create the environment that plants depend on to survive. When soil loses organic matter, everything begins to collapse. The ground becomes compacted and hard. Water runs off instead of soaking in. Roots cannot spread properly. Microorganisms disappear. Nutrients stop circulating naturally. At that point, the soil may still look normal on the surface, but biologically it has become weak and inactive. Farmers often describe this type of ground as dead soil because it no longer supports strong plant growth. Restoring this type of soil requires something very important: carbon-rich organic material. Carbon acts as the foundation for rebuilding soil life. It feeds microorganisms and helps create the structure that allows air, water, and roots to move through the ground. Wood is one of the most carbon-rich natural materials available, and sawdust is simply wood broken down into very small particles. These tiny particles make sawdust extremely useful when introduced into soil systems. When sawdust is added to soil in the right way, several beneficial processes begin to occur. First, it improves soil structure. Heavy clay soils often become dense and difficult to work with. Sawdust helps break up that density by adding light organic particles that create space within the soil. This allows roots to grow deeper and makes it easier for water to penetrate the ground. Second, sawdust improves the soil's ability to retain moisture. Many soils lose water quickly because they lack organic matter. When water is applied, it either evaporates rapidly or runs off the surface. Sawdust acts like a sponge within the soil, helping it hold moisture longer. This becomes especially valuable in warm climates or during dry periods when water conservation is important. Third, sawdust supports microbial activity. Soil microorganisms rely on organic materials as their primary food source. As sawdust slowly decomposes, microbes begin breaking down the wood fibers. This process feeds the soil ecosystem and encourages the return of beneficial bacteria and fungi that help plants absorb nutrients more efficiently. Fourth, sawdust contributes to the long-term formation of humus. Humus is the dark, rich organic substance found in highly fertile soil. It forms when organic matter decomposes and stabilizes within the ground. Humus improves nearly every aspect of soil health. It enhances water retention, increases nutrient availability, and creates the loose structure that plants need to grow strong roots. However, there is one very important detail that must be understood before using sawdust in soil. Fresh sawdust is extremely high in carbon, but relatively low in nitrogen. When microorganisms begin decomposing it, they require nitrogen as part of the breakdown process. If sawdust is mixed directly into soil without any additional nitrogen source, microbes may temporarily pull nitrogen from the surrounding soil environment. This can lead to a short-term nitrogen deficiency for plants. Plants experiencing nitrogen deficiency often grow slowly and develop pale or yellow leaves. This problem has caused some gardeners to believe that sawdust is harmful to soil. But in reality, the issue is simply related to how it is used. Once the proper balance is achieved, sawdust becomes incredibly beneficial rather than harmful. One of the most effective ways to use sawdust is through composting. Composting allows sawdust to break down before it is added to the garden. When sawdust is mixed with nitrogen-rich materials such as kitchen scraps, grass clippings, or animal manure, the carbon-to-nitrogen ratio becomes balanced. Microorganisms then break down the materials together, producing rich compost over time. This compost becomes an excellent soil amendment filled with nutrients and organic matter. Another effective method is using sawdust as mulch. Mulch is a protective layer placed on top of the soil rather than mixed into it. When sawdust is spread across the surface of garden beds, it helps protect the soil from direct sunlight and reduces evaporation. This keeps the ground cooler and maintains moisture levels for longer periods. Mulch also suppresses weeds by blocking sunlight from reaching weed seeds. Over time, the bottom layer of sawdust slowly decomposes and becomes incorporated into the soil naturally. A third approach is using aged sawdust as a soil conditioner. When sawdust has been sitting in piles for months or exposed to natural weathering, partial decomposition has already begun. This aged material can be mixed lightly into soil to improve its structure without causing the nitrogen imbalance that fresh sawdust might create. Many experienced gardeners use combinations of these methods depending on their soil conditions. In clay-heavy soil, sawdust can help loosen compacted ground. In sandy soil, it can help retain moisture and improve organic content. In garden beds, it can serve as mulch that gradually feeds the soil ecosystem. Finding sawdust is surprisingly easy because it is widely available and often considered waste. Woodworking shops generate large quantities every day as they cut boards, sand furniture, and shape wood materials. Sawmills also produce massive amounts while processing lumber. Furniture factories, carpentry businesses, and construction sites frequently accumulate piles that must be removed regularly. In many cases, these businesses are happy to give sawdust away for free simply because disposal costs them money. However, it is important to choose the right type of sawdust. Only sawdust from untreated natural wood should be used in soil application. Wood that has been painted, chemically treated, or pressure treated may contain substances that are harmful to plants and soil life. Safe sources include sawdust from natural pine, oak, maple, and many other untreated woods commonly used in carpentry. When introduced properly into soil systems, sawdust can lead to visible transformation over time. At first, the changes may seem small. The soil becomes slightly softer and easier to work with. Moisture remains longer after watering. Plants begin growing with stronger roots and healthier leaves. Gradually, the soil becomes darker as organic matter increases. Earthworms return because they are attracted to improved soil conditions. Microbial life expands, creating a stable nutrient cycle within the ground. After several growing seasons, the difference can be remarkable. What once appeared to be dry, lifeless soil becomes rich and productive. Plants grow stronger with less need for synthetic fertilizers. Water requirements decrease because the soil retains moisture more effectively. Harvests become larger and more reliable. This transformation does not happen instantly. Soil restoration is a gradual process that depends on consistent improvement of organic matter and biological activity. But the materials needed for this process are often simple and widely available. Sawdust represents one of the easiest and most overlooked resources for building healthier soil. Understanding this changes the way many people view waste materials. What appears to be useless dust from cutting wood is actually a powerful source of carbon that can rebuild soil ecosystems. Instead of throwing it away, gardeners and farmers can use it as part of a natural system that restores fertility and supports plant growth. In a world where many people search for expensive solutions to soil problems, it is sometimes surprising that such a simple material could have such a meaningful impact. But nature often works through small, gradual processes rather than dramatic interventions. Soil becomes healthy when organic matter accumulates, microbes thrive, and nutrients cycle naturally through living systems. Sawdust helps support these processes by providing carbon, improving structure, and encouraging the return of biological activity. When used thoughtfully and combined with proper soil management practices, it becomes a valuable ally in the effort to revive damaged or depleted soil. The next time you see a pile of sawdust in a workshop, a sawmill, or a construction site, remember that it is not just waste. It is a resource waiting to be used. Within those tiny wood particles lies the potential to rebuild soil health, support thriving plants, and restore the natural balance that every productive garden depends on. Once you understand how powerful this simple material can be, you may begin seeing it very differently. What most people sweep into trash bags and discard without a second thought could become one of the most useful tools in your entire gardening system. And that is why the title of this video carries an important message. Stop throwing this away, because the free fertilizer capable of reviving dead soil might already be sitting right in front of you.